And so began the latency period. It was like the calm after a storm, except you find out that it was really just the eye of a hurricane. For the next few weeks, everyone got healthy. On the surface, anyways. We stopped coughing and the headaches went away. We started working again. The storage facility refilled with gold and platinum and iron and zinc and nickel. Dr. War and I continued playing checkers at night, and with his help and guidance, I quit drinking for the first time. Of many. You know, usually if you do something over and over again, you get good at it. I remember just before the latency period came to a close, I approached Rayner for what must have been our last time in the lounge together to ask him about the whole Burkina Faso rape is just a fact of life thing. Rayner grabbed 2 beers out of the fridge. I refused mine, then grabbed a Coke. Rayner shrugged, opened both bottles for himself. So when you were doing your missionary shit, I said, didn't you ever think, like, man, these people are ignorant on a lot of really important issues? Like, did you ever think that? I asked, reading the side of my Coke bottle. It said Coke, okay. That was Coke's new Antarctic marketing campaign, I assumed. Although I later learned that they'd launched this same campaign worldwide. Rayner lowered the bottle from his lips, making that oh-so-contagious first sip sigh. What, you mean like toilet paper? Yeah, they use corn. Why Coke okay, I thought. Why not Coke Fantastic or Coke #1 or something? I said to Rayner, no, I mean like, what did you say, corn? Yeah, dried husks of corn. It's pretty effective, actually. I started to ask more, then shook my head, not wanting to get sucked into this. Really gets in there. No, I mean, okay. Isn't it true that in parts of Africa, they don't have any concept of rape? Rayner shrugged. Yeah, I guess, sure. But that's just the way they are. Different strokes, you know? He took a swig of the Goose Island lager on his left. Different strokes? What? I shook my head in disbelief. I'm talking about rape here, man. This one's not as cold, Rayner said. He got up and put it back in the fridge, pressing the bottle cap back on top with his thumb. You don't find that crazy? I asked as he came back to the long bar counter. Hey, I don't know what constitutes an absolute right or wrong. I don't know. I just know that the Burkinabés never made a big deal of it, that's all. I can't speak for the rest of Africa. What if that was your sister, I asked. Huh? How would you feel then? Hey, what's your problem anyways, Rayner said. It's not like those girls knew any better. Shit, isn't that what you're always saying? What you don't know can't hurt you? Isn't that your, excuse? What? I asked, when have I ever said that? All the time. You're always fucking saying that. No, I'm not. When have I? All the time, man. Shit, all the time. Whenever you cheat on Callie, what's the first thing you'd say after bragging to me about it? I went silent. I had bragged, hadn't I? And almost always to Rayner for some reason. Like, subconsciously, I was rubbing something in his face. Yeah, so there you go. Don't go getting all moral on me. Here, he said, raising his bottle. To ignorance is bliss, right? Cheers. I felt my arm raised like I was watching from the outside of my own body. I heard and saw our bottles clink in what would be the last of many happy toasts. I mean, not that this toast was happy. Everything about it felt wrong, tainted. Hell, even the Coke tasted funny, like battery acid and sugar. And then I realized, oh, yeah, right, that's how Coke tastes without rum. There was nothing you could have done for them, Robert says to me. He means once the latency period had begun. Symptoms return until the body either survives or does not. Yeah, I know, I say, I know. It's just, everyone seemed to get better. We thought it was over, that everyone was going to be, I almost say okay. Fine. It makes me wonder what I don't know now. Or worse, what I think I know that isn't so. I know the wall-sized view in front of me is really just an LCD screen meant to simulate a wall-sized window. I know this computerized window can flip around to show the ship from any angle. And I know that when I get within half an hour of Earth, I'll see its rings. We weren't the only prospectors who found something unexpected in Antarctica. Just a month earlier, a team on the other side of the continent had reported the discovery of an unusual rock formation while mining the Wilkes Land area of southeastern Antarctica. This formation turned out to be a 500-million-year-old impact crater the size of Ohio. When the Wilkes Land asteroid hit, it wiped out 95% of all living creatures, the largest single loss of life on the planet, the Permian-Triassic extinction. By comparison, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs only wiped out 70%. So powerful was the Wilkes Land impact that it caused Antarctica to split from Australia, sent Australia north to warmer climates, and plunged the Earth into a nuclear winter. Before the Permian-Triassic extinction, beetles, flies, medium-sized reptiles, and the first large herbivores and carnivores populated the planet. When the dust finally settled, the dominant form of life on the planet was fungus. Today, almost nobody remembers the Wilkes Land crater, never mind that it was one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of my lifetime. Both it and the team that discovered it fell into obscurity soon after government officials confirmed what we had found at our mining site in the northwest part of the continent, the greatest archaeological discovery ever, or simply, the Great Discovery, Zanadium. As the world would learn over the following months, Antarctica, and specifically the part of Antarctica that Rainer, the Burkinabés, and I had been mining, housed the world's largest supply of vanadium, a radioactive isotope that, when weaponized, makes plutonium look like Pop Rocks and Coke. The largest ever detonated plutonium bomb? About 50 megatons of TNT. The same size bomb made with weaponized vanadium-321 would have yielded 42,949 megatons. That's almost 1,000 times stronger. Of course, radioactive isotopes, especially ones as powerful as vanadium, generally don't occur in nature, or if they do, they don't last very long due to the same unstableness that makes them so powerful. But vanadium was different. Rumor had it that the Antarctic ice sheath somehow froze vanadium, preventing an otherwise rapid decay. Some said vanadium possessed physical characteristics unlike anything scientists had ever seen before, like it had come from outer space, like Antarctica itself was a giant asteroid. Most people were just glad that we found it. I remember laying in bed in a government-erected emergency hospital, watching the president break the news to the world. He said, "Throughout the history of this great nation, our salvation has always come from within, and so shall it be with our planet." The president went on to explain how a small group of multicultural prospectors had unearthed a hereto unknown nuclear material which held new hope for mankind. I wanted to change the channel, but my arm was too weak. The arm the government doctors hadn't had to amputate. These brave and enterprising individuals, the president went on, have sacrificed everything, risked life and limb to bring us vanadium. The life and limb part he got right. Our Burkinabé miners had lost their lives. I'd lost an arm. The two hunters and Dr. Warrer survived because they were the only Burkinabés who hadn't entered the mines. Rainer and I had survived, Rainer out of sheer will, I thought, and me because the doctor said I'd had less exposure than everyone else. Near the end, I was showing up later and later and leaving earlier and earlier thanks to alcohol. In fact, Dr. Warrer had barely weaned me off drinking when the latency period ended and the second stage of radiation sickness kicked in. I got sober just in time to get sick. I remember it happened in the shower. All at once, my cough came back, and my abdominal muscles cramped, and my calves cramped, and my nose bled. My eyes were closed because I'd just lathered my hair. I tried to rinse, but the coughing got so bad I had to sit down. I tilted my head back to wash away the remaining shampoo, and then, when I could see again, my skin was bathed in a watery pinkish hue. I licked my upper teeth and tasted iron. And as I looked all around my naked body, floating everywhere, I saw strands of bloody brown fiber. That was my hair, falling out in clumps, clogging the drain, making pinkish water swell up all around me. I remember crawling out of the tub and looking at the alchemist's bath mat on the floor, drops of blood falling from my nose to dot the I in alchemist, over and over and over again. I remember drying off and combing my hair and then stopping because it was more like shaving my head. We'd been bombarding vanadium with neutron lasers for over 2 years. We hadn't known that our spacesuits wouldn't protect against radiation poisoning because Alchemist had removed the insulation to cut costs and make the suits lighter. We hadn't known that the worst way to absorb radioactive isotopes was to vaporize them and breathe them through an air filter that warmed the air. We hadn't known any more than I knew what was going on when I collapsed in the bathtub. Proof that what you don't know can hurt you. 8 weeks later, lying in my hospital bed, listening to the president say what brave citizens we'd all been, Base Camp 321, as the press would later name us, after vanadium's most volatile form, Vanadium 321, lying there, I kept thinking back to that bathroom, to bleeding on all fours, scared shitless that I was going to die. On TV, the president was saying my name and Rainer's name, saying how our sacrifices may have saved the whole world. It didn't matter how many times he called me brave. The whole broadcast, I was still in my head, still on that bathroom floor, bleeding and scared. I wasn't brave. I'd never been brave. How truly not brave I'd been my whole life. That's all I kept thinking about. Well, that and how maybe Callie was watching the president call me a hero on TV. When he'd finished, the president left the podium without answering any questions, except to say that it's still too early for details, but our Defense Department feels that with this new nuclear material, their best and brightest can create the biggest bomb humanity has ever known. And that they did. The president left, and his press secretary answered a few more questions, though I don't remember anything about what he or she said. I only remember that when they finally broke for commercial, the first commercial I saw ended like this. The Alchemist Neutron Laser Drill.
Vaporize anything and only what you want, or your money back.